This eyeliner hack went viral on YouTube and for good reason. It's easy, it's quick, and it just works every time. So we are going to recreate it. I'm going to share it again with you, and I'm going to share 5 more eyeliner hacks. Let's get started. So this first hack is one that I love to share because it makes winged eyeliner so easy. I've actually coined this as the baby wing. I'm not actually sure if I'm the first one to say that, but I do think that that best describes this style of eyeliner. It's that really beautiful, subtle, soft wing that elongates the eye, lifts the eye, but doesn't look too theatrical. So let me show you what you're going to need. You're going to need a very soft kohl pencil. Today I'm going to be using the shade Umber from Revie Beauty. I love these. They're so creamy and soft. You're also going to need the BK Beauty 208 or a brush like it. Now, I don't really think there's one quite like it, and let me explain. So this is a tiny little angled brush. Let me show you. It is a tiny little microfine little angle brush. Now, there are many angle brushes on the market. You will actually see many brushes that look similar to this. So what makes ours different is I was really intentional about the fibers. I wanted them to be stiff enough to keep their shape, but I also wanted them to have some flexibility. A lot of little brushes like this I have found are just too stiff. They irritate the eye, they scratch the eye, especially right by the lash line, and this does not. So I'm going to take my liner, this is Revie Beauty in the shade Umber, and I'm going to give a nice little sharpen to it just to make sure it's fresh and sharp. Perfect. So now I have about like this. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to line the eye, and I actually like to start about middle of the lash line. I don't go all the way in. Eyeliner can also close the eye up, so I don't have a lot of lid space to work with, so I don't want to close that area up. I really want to open. So I'm going to stay really on that outer half, the second half of the lash line. And I like to lay my liner on its side and slightly sketch a line there. Now, what's great about this trick is you don't have to stress or worry about getting a perfect line. You do want to make sure that you apply enough product. You see how I'm kind of layering it on the most outer half? You want to make sure that you apply enough there that you have enough to spread and work with. Now I'm going to go and grab my 208, and I'm going to work kind of quickly because you don't want to allow this time to set and dry. You want to work with it while it's still creamy and soft. And I'm just going to take my 208 and I'm going to really stroke it across the liner and the product and extend that wing. Do you see that? Do you see what this did? So easily. It's just a perfect shape and size to give you such precision. And it's easy. You don't have to be an artist. You don't have to be super like precise with it. The brush does all the work for you. So you're really just going to run the brush on top of that liner and then pull and wing it out. And that's it. Look at how clean and precise this brush makes it. And then at that point, you can kind of come down if you want and make it a little thicker or do whatever you need to do to create the perfect eyeliner. But it's that easy. It is that easy. So it makes that baby winged liner just so easy. Anyone can do it. It doesn't take a lot of skill or precision. Now, the next eyeliner hack is one that you've probably seen. It's tight lining the eye, but I really want to kind of go into why tight lining is a really great approach, especially for hooded or for smaller eyes, and how just knowing this small little tweak or hack, you might say, for your liner can really make all the difference. So tight lining is essentially lining underneath your lashes. So it's lining like right in between the hairs at the closest point to your waterline, really. You can even take the liner and line your waterline, which is what we will do today. I do want to mention this though. If you have dry or sensitive eyes, this is a technique that I really actually would not recommend. I used to tight line and I used to line my inner waterline years ago because I love the look of it, but I have very dry eyes. And what I learned after this, after the last few years of trying to figure out how to address my dry eyes, is that we have these little oil glands. And when we clog those oil glands, that can contribute to really dry, irritated eyes. So I stopped doing it because of that. I will still do it on occasion here and there, but I feel like I cannot share this tip or this hack without sharing that bit of information. I'm going to go in with Revie Beauty's eyeliner in the shade Onyx. It's a black. And because I'm tight lining up here and I'm going right into the lashes and the waterline, I will use black. You can also use a really dark chocolate brown, but I like to keep chocolate brown on the lash line on the lid, but because I'm going right in there and it's going to be so tight and so fine, I'm going to use black. And tight lining is essentially just going right in. Hopefully we can zoom in to see this. It's going right in and lining right underneath your lashes and kind of working the liner in there. Now what this is going to do is it is going to define your lash line, make your lash line look fuller, and define your eyes as well, but it's not going to take any precious real estate up on the eyelid. So again, this is perfect for hooded eyes, smaller eyes, or just when you want a look where your eyeliner is not consuming the entire look. Okay, so let's just look at this eye. So if you look at this eye, you probably just don't notice eyeliner. It's not like eyeliner jumps off at you, right? You don't see liner on the makeup. But when you compare the two eyes, you can clearly see that this eye has a lot more definition at the lashes. The lashes look a little rich, a little fuller, and there's just more definition overall. So tight lining is a really great hack when you want to create the definition, but you don't want a lot of liner on the eyelid. It's also really easy. So I think it's a really kind of foolproof, beginner-friendly way to line the eyes. The key is having a very soft, creamy, kohl-like pencil, something that is going to transfer to the waterline really soft and easily and not irritate the skin. And I love the Revie Beauty. They're so good, so soft. I also love the Trish McEvoy gel liners. Those are really good as well. I'll link some of my favorites down below, but I'm really loving the Revie Beauty. They're so easy to use, so creamy, and very beautifully rich. The next eyeliner hack is really great for those of you that love a soft, smoky eye. Now, when I say soft, smoky eye, I don't mean like subtle or natural. You still can have some glam and some drama, but the edges of that liner aren't going to be crisp and really like defined. They're going to be soft, smoky, sultry. I actually love this style of eyeliner, and it's really great for beginners too because it's really easy to correct any mistakes that you make with your liner. We're going to start with the Persona Cosmetics eyeliner in brown. These also are very creamy. They're very pigmented. These liners actually went viral on TikTok last year, and for good reason because they are so fantastic. Now I have the same thing. I have a very sharp line. See right here, it's very sharp. I like to lay it on the side. It just gives me a little bit more control than going directly, but you know, whatever works for you, works for you. So keep doing what you're doing if it's working. And I'm just going to softly kind of sketch. If you notice when I do my liner, I do little bitty kind of strokes versus trying to create a perfect line in one swoop. I feel like that also gives me a lot of control. This liner, you guys, it kind of gives the illusion of like almost like a gel liner, like a cream gel liner. It is so creamy. And I love this brown because it is so rich. It's not black, but it might as well be because it gives so much definition. Now I'm going to go in quickly with the N12. This is another one of my favorite brushes for liner, especially for this technique. I'm going to go in and you're going to grab a powder eyeshadow. So I'm going into this Natasha Denona. I need a warm palette, and I'm going to go in with a matte brown shade. I'm not going to go in with something super dark to match the liner. I'm going to go in with something a little bit lighter. I'm going to go with this shade right here, and I'm going to load the brush up on both sides so that I really have it pretty packed with powder shadow. I'm going to go and I'm going to tap it off. So we kind of get rid of that, any excess or fallout. Then I'm going to go and I'm going to kind of just press it right on top of that liner. I'm going to really press it and work it into the liner. And once I have done that, then I will kind of just almost like kind of pull and press up to create this soft, hazy edge to that liner. Oh, it's so pretty. And if you notice, I am keeping the eyelid really clean and minimal. I don't have eyeshadow on the lid, and that was purposeful. I didn't want the eyeshadow to distract from the eyeliner techniques that I'm showing you. So I wanted to keep the lid very clean, but this actually looks really beautiful when you have on like a glam eyeshadow look. Oh, look at that. So pretty. Then I'm going to go back in and I'm going to take a slightly lighter color. So I started with this one. Now we're going to go in with this one. And I'm going to pick that color up, and then we're just going to kind of layer that right on the edge. And this is going to give a really pretty, just nice, smoky and sultry eyeliner look. And if you want, you can kind of pull the shadow out a little bit to extend the eye or carry it even into the outer corner a bit. But I think this liner is so beautiful. This also just ensures that your liner is going to last all day because you've now layered a kohl pencil with shadow on top. I mean, that liner is going to be like 24-hour wear. I promise you, it's so good. But let's kind of zoom in, take a look at this liner and just how beautiful and soft that is. Do you see the detail? It's very subtle, but it's so beautiful. I think it just lends to a very sultry, smoky look. Oh my gosh, I love that. That is so pretty. I love it. And I really love doing something thick on the upper lash and leaving the lower lash really bare. I think that's so beautiful. Okay, so I'm actually going to leave this on while we do the other eyeliner hack on this eye. And the reason I'm doing that is because these techniques are very similar. You're essentially kind of doing the same thing. You're just choosing different products and placement, and there's a different purpose behind it. So I'm going to go in with again, the Persona chocolate brown liner. It's actually called brown, not chocolate brown, but it's a very dark liner. You could also do black. So if you are wanting a lot of intensity, like you want something really dark, like black or dark, dark brown, but you maybe want to soften it, maybe you put it on and you're like, okay, that's just a little too much. How do I soften this? I'm going to show you how. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to go and line the eye, and I'm going to, again, not obsess over making this line perfect, because what I'm going to do is, before it has time to completely dry, I'm going to go in with my N12 brush, and I'm just going to kind of tap it and perfect any like bumps or any area where the liner doesn't look perfectly smooth. Just by running this brush on top of it, you are going to smooth it out and make it look perfect. Okay, but we're not done. What I'm going to do next is, you see how I have a pretty dark line there. It's very dark. It's harsh. Not that it looks bad, but it definitely could be harsh, right? You want to go in and lighten that. Take a metallic eyeshadow, okay? And I love a good like bronze metallic eyeshadow, something like this. We're actually going to go, let me see what these two shades look like. You want something very light, reflective. Okay, I'm going to go in with this shade right here. And you're going to take a bronzy, shimmery, like foiled or metallic shadow, and you are going to place that on top of that liner. And what that's going to do is, it's really going to take it down a notch, soften it. It's also going to make it, you know, reflect light, which is going to soften the liner. This is a really beautiful technique. When you want, again, you want that intensity, but you want a soft layer on top. It's like, I want that glam, I want that definition, but I want a little softer approach. So it's very similar to the last eyeliner hack. And depending on how much you want to smoke it out, you can smoke it out similar to what we did before on the other eye. But because this has a metallic or a shimmer finish to it, in addition to smoking out the eyeliner, it's also going to give just a softer look to the eyeliner. I'm going to go in with even a lighter color, you guys, just to play. I'm going to go in with this shade right here. That's kind of like penny color, like a light copper, and we're going to put it right on top. So by doing this and layering metallic shadow, you're almost losing that liner look, and you're just getting a rich definition at the lashes with some shimmer, is essentially what you're getting. You're getting a rich metallic liner, because if you were to use these shadows alone without that dark base, you're not going to get this definition. And then you can go on and you can kind of layer it if you want with as much of that shadow as you want. But do you see what that does? So pretty. So similar approach, we did the same thing. We took a kohl liner, we took powder shadow, but the difference really is the shadow that we placed on top of it. Do you see how much softer this is than this? Again, it's the difference between a matte shadow and a shimmer shadow, because this shimmer is reflecting light. I have a big light shiner on me. It's reflecting, it's giving the illusion of just a softer finish. So we are wrapping this video up with the last two eyeliner hacks, and we are going to kick off the one that started it all. This one went viral on YouTube a few years ago, and I love it because it makes eyeliner so simple. It also corrects any mistakes that you might make. So if you do make a mistake, maybe you don't plan to do this hack, but then you revert to this hack to kind of salvage your makeup. So what you're going to need an eye kohl pencil. If you've noticed, the theme here is we are using an eye kohl in every single hack. I love a good eye kohl, especially when it's soft, blendable, and stays all day. And I'm going to go in with a dark one. I'm going to go in with the Persona in brown. Again, it's that really rich, dark brown. Then I'm going to go in with a Longwear cream shadow stick. And today I'm going to be using Golden Bronze from Bobbi Brown. I love their cream shadow sticks. They are the softest, creamiest, most pigmented on the market. I love their shimmer formulas. I love the matte ones. They're all so perfect. I have yet to find a Longwear cream shadow stick that is as good as these. I just think these are so good. So you're going to need these two. You're also going to need an eyeshadow brush. And today I'm going to be using the BK Beauty 209. It's a small little detail brush. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to line my eyes with the Persona pencil. And I'm actually going to take this a little bit further over than I normally would, because we're going to completely cover this line. And you can go a little thick with it. You don't have to be perfect. You can actually apply more than you would normally for liner, because what you want to do is you want this to peek through the Longwear cream shadow. You're going to entirely cover it with the Longwear cream shadow. So you're going to soften it. But if you don't put enough down here, then you won't see it peeking through. So it is important that you are pretty liberal with how much you apply. So do you see that? Look at that. Now, then what we're going to do is we're going to take the cream shadow, and I'm just going to create a line kind of right on top of it and slightly above it. So if anything, this looks like just a really thick eyeliner. We're not going to leave it there. And I am working quick. If you don't work this quickly, just do one eye at a time. Then I'm going to take my BK Beauty 209 brush, and I'm going to really just soften the edges of this cream shadow stick and kind of blend it up into the lid. We'll do the other side. You want to work quickly before the cream shadow stick dries and before the eyeliner dries. Great, I'm going to kind of run my brush, clean it off, and then I'm going to go back and take this brush that's just got very little product on it, and I'm just really going to work and blend and sheer that up. That way it softly fades into the lid. So what we've done is that we have created a lot of intensity at the lash line, but that Longwear Cream Shadow Stick just softens it and kind of removes that look of a line on the eye. You get that definition, but it's a little softer, but it's still pretty glam. Now you can kind of take a look, and if you feel like you want to kind of soften the crease a tiny bit, take your bronzer. 202 brush, and I'm taking this bronzer from Pat McGrath, and we're just going to load it up. And we're just going to softly soften the crease. This is just going to give you a really beautiful, sultry, kind of a sheer, sultry eye look. It's simple. It doesn't take a lot of time. It's really difficult to mess this up. And this bronzer just finishes it off. That's really what it does. The bronzer just finishes and polishes the eye look up. You might be able to skip this, but if you feel like the contrast is too much, the bronzer will soften everything. Perfect. Oh, I love that. I love, love, love. So the last hack I have for you is something I really love to do on my lower lash line, and that is take the N12 brush with the powder eyeshadow and create my lower liner on my lower lashes. I like to keep the lower lashes very soft, very subtle. I don't want anything harsh. I don't want anything that's too strong or too dark down there. So a powder is just naturally going to look softer than an eyeliner. So I'm going in with this brush, and I'm going to go with this shade right here. It's called Soft Spot. It's a nice medium matte brown, and we are just going to softly create a little bit of definition on that lower line right down there. And I'm going to start in the outer corner, and we are going to work our way about halfway over. I'm not taking this all the way to the inner corner. I'm really just focusing this right on the outer corner. Keep in mind that whatever shadow you use, this brush is going to make it look a little bit darker because it's short and dense and it's meant to pick up a lot of product and deposit a lot of product. So either have very light pressure or go with a shadow that is slightly lighter than you think you might want for eyeliner. And I intentionally ended with those last two hacks because we're going to leave the makeup like this for the rest of the day. I'm going to go ahead and pop on some mascara. I'm going in with the new YSL mascara. This is good, you guys. So good. This really coats each lash, gives a lot of length. It's described as a lengthening and sculpting mascara. This does give volume, but it definitely is more of a lengthening and separating mascara. It's really beautiful though. You can really separate each lash. I love it. The wand is easy to work with. It doesn't give any like clumpy look to the lash. It's really beautiful. And I also love that it builds pretty quickly. It doesn't take a lot of time or effort to get a good lash. So I just do kind of like, little light 2 coats, and then I'll go back and do a third. If you kind of rest your eye and really like wiggle back and forth at the lashes, at the base of the lash, it'll kind of give the same look as Tightlining. Oh, it's so good. Really good. Dramatic lashes. And then I'm going to do a little bit on the bottom, just a tiny bit. Okay, and I think the last thing I need to do is just highlight underneath that brow bone a tiny bit. It's looking a little dark. I'm actually going to take my loose powder that I applied on my face, and we're going to apply that right underneath. That's the kind of hack to give a subtle brow highlight lift without looking like you've intentionally put a bright white shadow there. And those are my 6 easy eyeliner hacks. I hope you found this video helpful. I hope you learned a thing or two. If you learned something from this video or you plan to implement any of these hacks into your next makeup application, let me know down below. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.